Oh, wow, I look like a cultist. Yo, Zephyr, how you doing? Hello, that Goku Black. Hello, Fresh, how you doing? Let's just change the live scene. Make sure that the volume's up. How y'all doing today? Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're gonna pop open the Google, because I want to bring out the Google Drive again. And for today, when it comes to strategies and stuff like that, we're also going to bring out the phone. So don't worry about that. So, hope you guys have been doing great, doing well. I'm just going to charge this phone real quick. I think we should just get started and we'll just go from there. Okay. Also, if you see me looking down on my phone, I'm just looking down in case of like any YouTube comments and stuff like that. I just want to help people out. I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff for hard mode specifically in different modes. I mean, different teams for hard mode for today's event from Just Try to Surpass Me. But how you doing, Goku Black? Okay. All right, so I'm exhausted. How long is the live gonna be? An hour or two max, I think, because I just want to go over some crucial things for free to play, for non-free to play, just in general. So, let's just say strategies for PvP. Let's just say that, and the reason why I'm gonna just say that and nothing else is because this applies no matter who you are, no matter what teams you like to run, no matter are you free to play or not. This is just good knowledge to have. Stick with 3 teams max. Why? I think to explain. Also, congrats on the 930 subs. Yo, thank you. I didn't even notice, actually. It's not that I'm, like, not excited about that. It's that I haven't checked my channel. Okay, yeah, thank you. No, thank you, that Goku Black. Yeah, no, okay, that's awesome. I wasn't aware. Last time I checked, I had like 922 or 21. So yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, the subs are coming in pretty quickly. Honestly, if it keeps on going like this, I'll have 1,000 subs before the end of March, which is awesome. So thank you for that Goku Black. I appreciate that. But yeah, strategies for PvP. Stick to 3 teams max. Why? Let me just go into this without the bullet point. Why? Because learning learning how to use every character / every kit drains the ability to play effectively. Now, this isn't always the case, but especially in competitive, in any form of competitive, you really, really want to limit how many characters, or better to say, how many teams you're willing to play. And this is simply because to play competitively, you really only want 3 teams to be maining. I'll get into more why later, but one of the biggest reasons is learning what your opponent does and how it relates to your character and what's the situation that your character needs to be in to be effective. So, for example, let's go to the next thing. Know your kits. It's hard to know kits. It's hard to know all your kits and what they all do. Because I can bet you. Also, hi Adrian, how you doing? I bet tons of money that you don't know your kits 100%. Like, if I asked someone to just basically regurgitate Super Gogeta's Zenkai kit right now without looking, I bet none of you could do it. And there's a reason for that. It's because you haven't taken the time to really, really know what your character does from every minute detail. And those minute details matter. So, small details such as key recovery to damage cut effects matter. Knowing what happens when you vanish or hit someone matters. Okay? You're fine? That's awesome. And one more. Don't make the whole team the same element. It could be advantage, but it's a downside. Well, yeah, but and we'll put it in there. We'll put it in there, that Goku Black, because that's not a bad thing. So I will put that in there, but I feel like it's more like a side disclaimer, because I'm really trying to go into like the depths of strategies for PvP, more so than the obvious. But to be fair, I mean, if they're new, then it's not necessarily obvious. So why don't I put that down anyways, just so we have that. Avoid mono colors. Sticking with one color is a recipe for disaster, since you deal half damage against certain elements while taking double the damage. All right, I think that safely covers why you don't want to do monocolors. Also, hi Zephyr, Epic Legend, hello. You be breaking this stuff down like an esports graph slow. Oh, yeah, Epic Legend. How you doing? And yeah, you have to. You kind of have to, though. You really have to break this down, because if you guys want to play this game effectively, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, this is how I used to play this. And that's why I was beating people. Why I beat some people that I would personally think are better than me in general. But I've beaten them. And why? It's just because you break this down, and then all of a sudden you realize that there are outs in situations where you thought you were going to lose. And I'll go over a particular example in which I made the most impossible comeback ever with a character who seemingly you shouldn't be able to do it, especially with the minute health. But let's not go into that now. Let's just go over this. Also, good afternoon, Pigeon. How you doing? What do I expect from the event of the Super Saiyan 3 Goku LF? Well, I expect that they're going to give us missions, like within our missions tab. And then what we're going to have to do is we have to just accomplish all that. And if we do, they're going to give us at least one copy of Super Saiyan 3 LF Goku. That's my assumption. If they give us more than one copy, that would be beautiful. But I don't have a lot of faith in Toshi and the devs, so there's also that. Let's see. I feel like your channel is starting to grow rapidly soon. I mean, Epic Legend, at Goku Black did point out that I just hit like 929 or 930 subs, which is awesome, because last time I checked, I had like 921. So I did grow like 9 subs just overnight, which is awesome. I'm very, very grateful for that. That's awesome stuff. Good afternoon, Pigeon, if I haven't said that, but I believe I did. Also, hey, Zephyr, how you doing? Hi, Shri, how you doing? Okay, use Zenkais if you have them for buffs. Yes, absolutely, that Goku Black. Without saying anything. I know everything about my team. I've been playing 6 months, and I read all units kits 10 times least, okay? Sub to Yaro G when he had, like, 1K subs during the second Annie. Started making meme stuff and started getting subs so fast, like, about 5K or more a week. I mean, that's awesome. That's good stuff for Yaro. Yaro G. When is the Z? The Z what? Oh, the Zenkai Super Saiyan 3. Oh, we don't know. I don't know. It's not being said. People are speculating, but nothing confirmed as of yet. You heard they were gonna Zenkai him allegedly. Exactly. People say there's 2 events of that. It's 50 Z powers each. If it's only 50 Z power, that's sad. What's the point of 50 Z power for Super Saiyan 3? That's even worse than just one full Super Saiyan 3 Legends Limited Goku. Road to 1K. I'm fantastic, Zephyr. All right. Here's the next one. And I think this is why you need to know your kits inside and out. Okay, let me just increase the formatting here because you guys can barely see this. Here we go. There we go. 150. Sorry about that, guys. It's all good, Neo Galaxy. How you doing? All right. So this is what we have so far. We have stick with 3 teams max. Why? Because learning how okay. I forgot use. Because learning how to use every character, every kit drains the ability to play effectively. Know your kits. It's hard to know your kits if you have to memorize every single one. So small details such as key recovery to damage cut effects matter. Knowing what happens when why you vanish. Why you vanish? Oh, knowing what happens when you vanish or hit someone matters. Avoid monocolors. That goes without saying. You don't want to run only one color team. It's just generally a bad idea. And then know the kits of your opponents. And I think this is actually the biggest one. We take the time to know our own kits, right? For the most part. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you know most of it, but you don't know just the minute details. And those minute details matter, right? Now, know the kits of your opponents. So how does this not relate? Because I just said don't memorize every single one. So what you do, memorize every single relevant team's kit. This means from Majin Vegeta to the blue hybrid Trunks, like Zenkai 7 Trunks, the Super Saiyan 2, to female warriors, Android 18, you need to know their kits. You need to know what they do. All right, right now, anyone that's in the chat, I want you to tell me, why do you not switch out when Android 18 is wailing on one of your characters? Why would you not switch out? I want to see how many of you guys know why you wouldn't want to do this. Why would you not want to switch out when you're getting attacked by Android 18 Zenkai 7? Why does that cause so much problems for you as a player? And try to not look at your phone. I'm gonna yeah, because she gains buffs. Do you know what buffs though? Do you know what buffs she gains? Card draw speed and keyed. Perfect, Lost Nico. You got it. Yeah. Exactly, Michael. And that's crazy because think about it this way, right? She increases her card draw speed, which means that all of a sudden you go from someone that originally, and she also gets key recovery too. She gets some key too, right back. Immediately the switch happens. So she can continue combos. On top of that, she might now have card draw speed of 2. And then whenever she wants, she can mix it up with both blast and strike attacks, meaning you have no idea what she's going with next, because she does hold 2 blast cards. But if they threw a green card, sidestepped afterwards, and then threw a blast card at you, you have no idea what you're supposed to be actually throwing in, especially with your cover changes. So potentially, you can go from 3 healthy characters to now 3 almost dead characters, if not 2 almost dead, 1 dead, right? And that's huge. You just don't want to make those mistakes. So at that point, you obviously know you need a good red to wall that if you're going to switch out, and you're going to do that near the end of her combo, or at least in the middle of her combo and nothing more, right? But this is important, and that's just one character. So you need to know, like, for example, the LF Broly, when to switch out for that, right? When do you need to consider, oh shoot, I'm vanishing too much, or alternatively, he's vanishing too much, too many buffs are happening, right? And you have to figure out what is cancelable, what is not, right? Because a lot of times we see characters just one-shot our characters, and we're like, how did that happen? That doesn't make any sense. But then you go back and read the kits, you read the synergy, you read main abilities, and all of a sudden you go, ah, okay. That was really well done. That was really well done on their part. So, you gotta think about that. She gets buffed like crazy. What do you think about the new characters? Adrian, personally, I don't care for the new characters. They don't synergize with any of the teams that I want to play. So they're skippable. Very skippable. But the new Super Saiyan Broly, I can see him being used on a Super Saiyan's team, but any other team, he's underwhelming. This new Demon King Piccolo, he's fine. But until he transforms, that's what he is. He's fine. So it's like one of those things. Like, I definitely see this new Piccolo being very good to compete for the spot of Android 21 Evil, if not potentially outright replace her as time goes on. But as of right now, they're underwhelming. And I expect that from All-Star Legends stuff. Like, those type of banners are usually underwhelming. With a couple of exceptions. There's always exceptions, of course. But as of right now, there's so little data, I can't quantifiably give more than right now from what I see blank surface, blank canvas, they're underwhelming. Oh well, you know? Yeah, if you switch out against LF Broly, you chose death. And if he has Bardock Zenkai with that LF Broly, you're dead. It's interesting because I think it really just depends on what you're dealing with. But this is why knowing the kits of your opponents matters. In fact, actually, I would say you need to know your kits only half as much as you need to know your opponent's kits. So the moment you enter the battlefield, this also means, and when I'm saying kits, I also mean this. Know what cards they have in their hand. What do I mean by this? As in, what each character they have would hold. Why does that matter? This helps figure out what card they might select for their Rising Rush. That's huge, because when you get guessed a lot, it's because they're retroactively, if they're a good player, they're going to use probability to guesstimate what card you're going to have based upon A, what cards you've been using this entire time, and B, what cards you hold in your hand and what's the total quantity. That's going to be huge. That's going to play a significant role in cover changing. That will play a significant role in Rising Rush. And that just goes to show. Now, obviously, if you're dropping combo, that's a different story. That kind of changes the situation, if you may. But I'm talking about just in those general thoughts, those general ideas, right? Don't worry, Lost Nico. Everything is going to be given to you guys, so don't worry about it. Everything I've covered is here. You haven't missed anything. Don't worry. Let's see. If you're going against strike units, you need characters with strike cover change. But if you're against blast unit, you use cover change for blast units. Yes, but sometimes they're gonna mix. Good teams mix it up, meaning sometimes cover change reliability is on the low. So you have to realize that if you're gonna pick cover change units, they still want to have adequate defense or another form of cover changing altogether. For example, Vados is a great cover change unit, not because she's actually good at tanking, but because she's good at breaking combos by breaking 2 cards away from the opponent, thus potentially just ending a combo flat out, which is great. You want that. That's actually much more relevant at this current time than someone that just does a strike change, but has no way of breaking even a single card while doing it. For example, someone like that would be Zamasu. The purple fusion Zamasu, he's a good unit. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying right now his cover change is very ineffective in comparison to someone like Super Saiyan Blue Future Goku, who also breaks a card when he switches in, right? That's big. Just because you didn't land your cover strike change doesn't mean you potentially haven't at least nerfed someone's combo, if not completely broken it, right? So that's huge. We like those. Those are what help. Breaking cards along with cover changing is obviously ideal. So that LF Gohan, the yellow one, the new one, fantastic. Breaking 2 cards while also potentially nerfing blasts completely, that's fantastic. That's literally what we want to see in a cover change. That is prime defense. So, and reducing key. Yeah, nice strategies. Also, I'm glad you're learning, Brawler. That's why I choose a card that I use a lot with the R. For example, if I use the green 2 times and I get a green on the R, I'll choose, yeah, green. Yeah, exactly. With Zenkai Super Saiyan 3 Goku purple, green is basically unnecessary unless it's a blue-purple team. Yeah, and no, Pigeon, because I feel like green is one of the stronger colors in the meta right now, and so, like, green, happens to be very, very powerful, so it's always, like, nice to have a green on your team, just because there's so many powerful blues at the current moment. Right now, it's right now a battle between red and blue for best color, but blue is edging out in terms of quantity. Quantity wise, the best quality units are going to be green and blue units. Currently at the moment in the meta in the game, the colors with the most quality units, well, quality in terms of quantity would be blue and green. They have the most. In terms of quality, however, red is definitely at the top. Red has the most quantifiably quality units, and they only really need 3 to point out that quality. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, the Zenkai 7, the red one, obviously. The red Gogeta, Super Gogeta, Zenkai 7, obviously. And then you have the non-Zenkai Cell, who dies, then comes back. Quality. These are quality units. All 3 of them demonstrate the ability to 1v3 teams. They all demonstrate the ability for having defensive capabilities. They all demonstrate qualities for being a one unit nuke. These are very, very powerful qualities. Blue units have this too, but not on the same scale, and same with green. It's because every single other character doesn't do as much as what these characters can do. And I'm saying this knowing that we're talking about mainly ladder. In competitive tournaments, when you're doing best 2 out of 3, there's a lot of team switching, there's a lot of team variations, and there's also a lot of other things like that that changes the scope, and that makes quality and quantity a little bit different and harder to explain, because at that point, we're also talking about LF units that are potentially 14 stars, and that changes, again, the scope of everything. Because one thing you're going to find is a lot of people that play competitive don't necessarily touch the ladder, or vice versa. Or potentially they do both, but they don't care about the ladder. So they'll play whatever they feel like versus what they would normally compete in. Because in a game like Legends, there is no prize money. However, in tournaments, there are. That's where people take it seriously. That's where people practice. So just keep that in mind again, right? Ultra Zeniku, I'm fantastic. How you doing? And Red Goku, yep. Mostly Goku Black, Vados, and maybe Vegeta or 21 for best green units. I please don't forget Zenkai 7 Buu. Majin Buu, good. It should not be slept on. If you're sleeping on him, you're making a big mistake, especially on the ladder. On the ladder, best of ones can be decided by that character. Best of ones can literally be decided by Majin Buu good. And the reason for it is best of ones is all about how you play in that current moment. Best of ones are a bad way to quantify how good characters or how good a player is. Actually, it's better to say it's good at quantifying a good character, but it's bad at quantifying a good player. So a ladder only shows us what units really come out on top in a best of one. And Majin Buu Good has proven since his debut as a Zenkai that he more than deserves to be literally one of the most powerful greens, if not the most powerful green. And time has shown that that is true, especially in a best of one. Now, if you're talking about best of 3, yeah, you're right. Then in that case, I don't think he would be number 1, 100%. I don't believe he's number 1. But we're talking about best of 1 scenarios. We're talking about the situations where making a mistake, how badly will it cost you? Majin Buu Good lets you mitigate that a lot. And the same cannot be said for Android 21 Good. Not saying that she's a bad character. She's fantastic. I love her. And she's really, really, really fecking good. It's just, you can't make as many mistakes. Right? Yo, TY Beast, how you doing? So, yeah. I think one of those big things is just knowing what a unit is like, right? And right now, in the ladder, the best color in the game is red. This is changing, though. I've noticed the shift. I've been noticing a shift. It's starting to tone down how powerful reds can be. And they're doing this, I feel, on purpose because they're trying to swap colors. They're trying to swap rotations. And it just comes down to when the next best kit is coming for ladder. But right now, red is the best color. It's a toss-up between green and blue, followed by yellow, which isn't lagging too far behind green and blue, although still a little bit, and then purple being dead last. Notably, the only, I would say, two purples that I can think off the top of my head that tell me, yeah, this is a good purple are the SSB Future Vegeta, and then obviously the Super Saiyan 3 Zenkai 7 Goku. That's just obvious. Yeah, Phil, what about units that cancel switches like Jiren or Boo? Yeah, those are great units. Those are great units. Whether they don't let you cover change or whether they don't let a switch in, those are fantastic units. The more you are able to constrict your opponent, the better the unit. Case in point, transforming Yellow Gohan back in the day when he was the king of PvP with movies. Why was he the king? Busted green card. Still to this day busted. And then on top of that, a lock-in for 10 timer counts. So potentially, he could just one combo an entire character. Back in the day, that was crazy. That was potentially game-defining. So, yeah. I wouldn't say Sun Fam. I would say it's more Super Saiyans or Saiyans. It's right now a mix, but I'm starting to lean towards Super Saiyans as being the more dominant force in terms of like what is on the ladder. But it's still a toss-up between Saiyans and Super Saiyans. Realistically, when I say Saiyans versus Super Saiyans, the only change is whether they're using Zenkai 7 Super Saiyan 3 Goku or not. If they are not, they are then using the movie Goku Assist Vegeta, which is honestly with Zenkai Bardock's buffs, just as good, if not sometimes even better, with his ability to break cards. So when he cover changes, I mean, and then heal. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, they are inferior to Saiyans in the current meta. Saiyans and Super Saiyans are right now taking a bit more of a predominant lead over Sun Family, and that's really just because Sun Family really is lacking a good green unit. They really are, and that's starting to hurt them. It's really starting to hurt them since a lot of blue units are just becoming extra busted, and a lot of people are running blue, blue, purple just to counter the red Gohan and the Super Gogeta, right? Those two, big countered if you have double blue. On top of that, we have that red cell, so bringing in double blue cuts that character from wanting to sometimes see play, meaning the Rising Rush is more potent, right? So think about why people pick colors. They want to break off the meta. They want to shift it, and they are shifting it. Why? Because blue, blue, purple is finding a lot of success, and that means that green, as a result, with how many kits and how good their units are, is also finding success because there's so many blues. The only thing left to counter it is purple, but because there's so little purple that is actually good in this game, you have now these yellows that are actually being able to be supportive, if not outright just demolish those characters, while also being neutral to a blue. And this is why red gets to stay, right? So it's all about shifts. They usually do red, blue, green. Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's just go over the next thing. Yeah, Kaioken Goku is like one of those things. He's just aged a lot, and you have to expect it. You've come to expect it. All right. So let's see. Yeah, next one. This one's a little bit more of a mantra than it is a strategy, but I strongly urge you guys to consider this one. Learn to let go. I'm going to highlight this so you guys know what I mean. And I'm going to explain it. What does this mean? So, before I type it out, what does this mean? Learn to let go. It means when you lose a game, it's okay to be frustrated. But the moment that game is over and you're done being frustrated and you are ready to click play again or the next opponent, breathe and realize it's a new game. That other game, that's in the past now. If you let that game haunt you in this new game, my advice is stop. You're supposed to not even play anymore. Just stop for the day or stop for a couple of hours. Come back to it when you're ready. Because the worst thing you can do is go in with a salty mindset, mess up again, or get just hard countered by someone, and then get even more enraged. Because the worst thing you can do to yourself is play while enraged. You're more likely to lose more and more, thus hating the game more and more. This is common amongst a lot of gamers, and I don't know why we do it to ourselves, but for some reason we equate with we need to have more wins than we have losses. We also need to end our day or end our fighting sessions with at least one win. We need to equalize for some reason. But why? We don't. We actually don't. We just feel the need because it's like, for some reason, we tie in how well we do in the game with our self-worth. If you catch yourself doing that, stop that. That's toxic. Toxic to yourself and toxic to just the player base for itself. You got to stop doing that. That is not how most competitive players think. That's a very bad way to play. Hey, DDP, how you doing? Okay, so I'll just write this out. I'm fantastic, DDP. How you doing? Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah. No, you're great. That's awesome. All right. So yeah, learn to let go. So like I said, and I think the last thing I want to just say, which I didn't say out loud, but I'm gonna say now, what you need is to see what mistakes you've made, right, and how you can fix them in the future. Not really focalize on how the game glitched or whatever. If you know the game glitches at times, what can you do to circumvent that? What actions can you take? What style changes can you do to your gameplay to fix up how broken, player to player connection can be sometimes? And what some people will do is they will just fish for perfect vanishes. It's perfectly acceptable as a form of playing. Um, do I condone it? I mean, yeah, I do because it's in the game. It's a mechanic in the game. And I'm ignoring, comments or snide remarks about how like Perfect Vanish shouldn't be in the game because it doesn't matter what you think about that, right? I personally can tell you all about how much I hate Perfect Vanish, but I'm going to tell you to exploit that because, well, crazy concept, but it's in the game. Perfect Vanish is in the game. Learn to use it. Don't be like an elitist or like someone that is so snob that they're just not willing to use it because it's broken or it goes against their code. Enjoy losing more then. Just enjoy that. I don't know what else to tell you. If you want to be competitive in this game, a lot of higher ranked players, they know how to A, bait a perfect vanish, as in make it so that way the opponent does not perfect vanish, and B, they know how to perfect vanish themselves because let's face it, if you perfect vanish, you have a 100% chance, actually you have your confirmed 100% to start your next combo uninterrupted. Who wouldn't want that? Most people that play competitively want to win. That's simple. So that moves into our next one. Learn to perfect vanish. It's a mechanic. Use it. If it gets patched, relearn a new method. It's very simple. Don't be snob about it. Yeah, I do have a guild. All right, take care, Pigeon. Max Bolton says most people. Most people what? I'm just confused. Objection, your entire document is a lie. Reason, I can't read. Oh. Is it too small? Do you want me to increase it to 200%? Is that better? Is that better, Dark? Can you read that now? I'm going to be sharing this in my description, so that way you guys can actually have access to this too. I'm just not going to do it right now because, I'm really bad at that, and Emily's not here right now. That's right, I am very dependent on her, and unfortunately, she is not here. Yeah, exactly, Lost Nico. Here's another one. Learn to accept Rising Rush. Better to say in PvP. So, like I said, the ladder and tournaments are two different monstrosities. In higher level tournaments, they tend to forbid Rising Rush, and the reason for it is it's a RNG based system. They try to reduce RNG. Right? So, you have to understand that when you're doing a PvP game, a ladder based game, you got to use everything at your disposal. That also includes Rising Rush. Hate to say it, but it's true. It's why I've been using Rising Rush a lot more recently, too. I still hate Rising Rush. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I love tournaments that completely forbid the use of Rising Rush. Because it allows us to see how well does a player actually understand their units, and how much do they actually just rely on the click of a button to out themselves out of a problem unit that they just don't know how to deal with. And I say this because I know very well from firsthand experience that I can beat people when I'm not using the Rising Rush. But when we play with the Rising Rush, the scope changes because all it takes is one mistake versus many to get your bearings down, right? Rising Rush allows you to essentially auto kill something or almost auto kill something. Let's be real, it's mainly auto kill with exceptions. Where you just basically now have them down one unit, and now the opponent has to struggle even more from where they were than before. Then mind. Yeah, so what I would say is, if you're playing a friendly, and I'm not going to put this is for PvP specifically, strategies for PvP, but PvP ladder, better to say. I think I should include that. I think that makes sense to include that. If you're playing friendlies, talk to your friend prior to playing. Make sure you're on the same page about Rising Rush versus not Rising Rush. Also, don't be that person where you agree no Rising Rush and then you RR anyways. Especially when you're in a losing position. Like, if you forget, fine, just forfeit the match afterwards. But if you didn't forget and you just are that desperate to not want to lose that you're going to do it without, clearing that's scummy. Don't do that. Don't be toxic. Yeah, TY says I usually bait the R. Good idea. Yeah, that's a good move. Yeah, no problem, Dark. Here's another thing. And I hate to say it, but learn to accept feint in PvP. Yeah. So I do have some advice, DDP. So just give me a moment. I will cover that. Okay, so learn to accept feint in PvP. Why? Because it's a skill. It's a skill. It's part of our kits. You're supposed to exploit it. If you're playing tournaments, however, if feints are banned, then you as a player have to be aware of that. And then you as a player also have to know what is the procedure for feints in a tournament where that could potentially happen, right? Um, in most tournaments, if feint is banned, you're not even allowed to tap shot them awake. If you do that, that's a disqualification. Why? Because you're interrupting a process and you're also damaging them. So if they have 1 health left and you tap shot them, they're dead. If they're almost dead and you accidentally tap shot them and you get a crit on that tap shot, they're dead, right? And these are the situations where that happens. So if a tournament bans feint, most likely they also ban any form of way to wake the opponent up. So the only thing you get back from your feint is your timer switch counts, right? Your ability to your substitution counts, right? That's the word for your characters to be able to switch more. Outside of that, that's all you get. There's nothing else you get, right? That Goku Black, we have 2 guilds, yeah. All right. So this is for you DDP gamer. So we're going to go back to learn to let go. All right? So DDP, this is for you specifically and I will answer questions in a moment, okay? So that Goku Black, just give me a moment. I will talk to you in a moment. All right, so DDP, you said, you got any tips to not get mad or rage? I lose like 5+ times in a row and rage, and I just want to win and play until I win, but I can't. And that's great because I really, really covered that. Yo, Naird, how you doing? So first up, this is for you, DDP. Learn to let go. Make sure to take breaks and not to tie your self-worth with your performance in the game. You do not need more wins than losses to have a good session. You do not need to end with a win to have a good session. What you need is to see what mistakes you made and how you can fix them in the future. What does this mean? Practice, practice, practice. Take breaks when you find yourself getting angry. Put the phone down. If you are still thinking about your last match when you click start for your next match, you made a mistake and you shouldn't have played. You shouldn't have started. That's a bad idea. That is exactly how you continuously lose because your mind is plagued by your previous match instead of actually focusing on the current match. And your lack of focus is going to only take away from your ability to play. Yes, if you're new, you're going to struggle. There's a lot of players that are going to be better than you. This is just normal. What you can do, however, is look at what they are doing, see what they are doing, and see if you can apply that in the same kind of way. Exactly. Have fun, actually. You're just supposed to have fun with this game. If you're not having fun with this game, then I hate to say it, but in some cases, you're doing something wrong. You're focusing too much on a goal versus the journey. And I think, yeah, focus on the journey. I think this is my biggest thing. Focus on the journey. So, in order to win, you need to learn to improve. You can't improve if your only focus is winning. It's just that simple. It's that simple. Yo, Michael, I'm glad. Let's see. Not letting go is what I suffer from. Yeah, Nairo D. See, that's a problem. You need to learn that because you'll find yourself losing more if you do not let go. You find yourself losing more if you do not let go. Yeah, Nairo D. See, that's a very bad way to play. That's why sometimes you'll have a bad losing streak or you will play horribly when you know you could play better. And I know, Nairo, that you're a good player, right? But that doesn't change the fact that even you struggle with that from that too. And I do too. Sometimes I do as well. So I've been doing a lot of practice on myself, and I have gotten a lot better at it too. It's just, we catch ourselves. And when you catch yourself, take a break. That's what I do now. Whenever I catch myself getting angry, I catch myself not enjoying myself, I take a break. Not because I want to, but because I know I have to. If you don't exhibit self-control, you are going to ruin yourself and your enjoyment of this game. Another thing, in regards to DDP, in terms of practice, join my Discord. Ask people to play with you. Have them teach you different moves and different techniques. Chances are you don't even know half of what needs to be done in PvP to be successful. And if you do, the next thing to do is applying patience, because patience is one of the biggest things in PvP ladder specifically, as well as reaction time. Patience, reaction time equals success. All right. Yeah, that Goku Black says, a month ago I broke my phone screen because I lost a game. I see that. I understand. I just play computer games now. Fair enough, Dark. That makes sense. Can't wait till I get my go on to 7 stars. Well, hopefully you do, TY. Yo, Roberto, how you doing? Any tips how to avoid a vanish after you guessed your opponent's RR? Michael, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like, let's say, okay, so you say, so if your opponent's guessed your RR, that means you're getting knocked back. So now you have your vanish gauge. The next thing you need to do is check the position of your opponent's character. This is hard on a phone. This is why a lot of higher ranked players, they don't play on their phone, by the way. They play on a tablet. Why do they play on tablets? So actually, what is the superior form of playing? What device should I play on to be competitive? The answer is tablets. Tablets are the device you should be using. Phones are fine, but our eyes don't register movement as well in tinier. I didn't say tinier right. I said Tinder now. Tinier frames. So what do I use? I use a phone, right? Because I am not competitive. I don't care. I don't give a feck. As I like to say, ka-chow, yeet a monkey into outer space, and I mean it. I really enjoy that stuff, but I also don't mind losing on a tinier frame screen because I just don't care. I really couldn't care. Like, I just don't have that capability right now. Yeah. I guessed it and I want to attack, and it pisses me that they can vanish after I guessed it, especially at the end of the fight. Yeah, so, Michael, what I would do is if you've guessed it, you could try to bait them with a tap shot. Only a tap shot, though. Don't try to attack them right after. So they've changed the mechanic of Rising Rush. Now, you don't get punished if you get guessed, which honestly is a better thing. You do not want to get punished if you get guessed. Being guessed and then getting punished because your RR failed is literally one of the most unbalanced experiences in PvP. And that's not to say that the Rising Rush itself isn't balanced, because it isn't. The Rising Rush still needs to be tweaked itself, but at least they've gotten it half right. And that's just one of those things. Now, with that being said, tap shotting is your best bet. If they vanish, you can go straight into a strike. If they don't vanish, now's the time to float and wait patiently so you can perfect vanish, or if they're coming close to you, move back. And chances are they might try to do a strike or a blast. If that happens, that's all comes down to motion and reaction time. I'm sorry to say that, but that's a reaction situation there. Do you have any tips on what to do at the beginning of a match? Feel out the opponent. This means not attacking, floating back, floating to the side, not dashing, so don't swipe. You're dragging. You're pulling yourself away. Because if you're pulling yourself away and your opponent does an action, most likely they're going to tackle you. And if they tackle you, just play a strike guard's art. And then now you can begin the game. It will get an idea of what type of player they are. Are they a bait type player? Are they an offensive player, meaning they just go ham? They just go yeet yeet ka-chow and then try to yeet you into outer space? Or are they one of those slow Nancys that basically just go, I'ma just wait here till you do something? If they're one of those, that's the worst player to play against, not because they're turtles, but because they have the patience of a king. And when you have the patience of a king, you are a nightmare to deal with. You are an absolute nightmare to deal with. Someone that is offensive, like hyper offensive or a baiter, is very, very easy to deal with if you break them. They will just basically go ham at you. They will just jump at you. They won't even try to like slow themselves down. And when they do, that's a good player. But if they don't, that's just the obvious. That's the typical situation. So when you have your turtle Nancy's, be terrified. Those are scary. All right? All right, sounds good. Don't tackle or anything, just back off. Exactly. Well, tap shot won't be that good if the other guy goes for a blast. You won't have time. Actually, that's not true, Nairo. You will have time to avoid that. It just depends if you're late. Because if you tap shot just after the rising rush, even if they click a blast card, there's a frame delay of 1 second. As long as your phone registers that prior to the frame delay, you will be able to dodge. So that's without question. It's only if your phone or whatever device you're using or your player to connection is so bad that you actually get it within after the frame delay, then yes, you will get caught by a blast. So essentially is what I'm trying to say is don't tap shot if the connection is horrible. If the connection is piss poor, don't do it. Just wait and play the game to neutral. Right? If the connection is good, then tap shot all you want. You'll be fine. Yo, Shu, I'm fantastic. How you doing? Okay. And then Dark says, wait, I think I know. So I'm gonna click share, click change to anyone with the link. Make sure the access is only view commentator that copy the link and paste it here and then click done. Jeez, you're smart. Okay. Let me just bring this over for a second because I want to try to do this. Okay, share. And then it says change to anyone. Okay, so save that. So then it says, okay, so then you said change to anyone. So to get the link, I need to just change anyone to the link. Yes. And then anyone with the link, make sure the access is only to viewer commentator. So then in that case, yeah. So viewer only. Yep, got it. I'm just going to copy the link. Yep. Paste it here. Got it. So I'm going to go to YouTube now, and I'm going to put it in my description. So you guys will have access to being able to... Okay, let me just mute myself, because I do not want to talk while I'm hearing myself. That would just suck. Let's just edit this. So that way I can put it in my description. So it's going to be below. And this description is horrible. So let me just... And let me just do that. There we go. That's better. Because I'm not talking about specifically chrono crystals. I don't know why Emily thought I was. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Point is, it's done. We got it done. I'm going to bring it back. Here we go. All right. I'm so bad at drop, says TY. That's fair. If you tap shot and they vanish tap attack, then go into your combo. Exactly. How should I practice patience? Because I have terrible patience. I always rush attack and try to speed it up and get told I'm easy to guess. Yeah, that's exactly it. So how to practice patience? When you have that urge to attack, don't. Wait for your opponent to make a mistake. In a game like this, like Dragon Ball Legends, be aware that this is a game of chess. This isn't a fighting game. If you treat this like a fighting game, you're going to have a bad day. If you treat this game more like a turn-based action RPG or like a game of chess, like a turn-based, you're going to have a much better time at this game. Because, yeah, you can play solitaire. You can play cards. This is like a card game. You could play solitaire. Treat this like a card game. I don't know if you've ever played a card game like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or Magic the Gathering or Card Fight Vanguard or Digimon or whatever. I don't really care what game you're playing. The person with more patience or that doesn't open themselves up to the other person's strategy wins. And that's simple because it's all about draining resources or alternatively, getting to your win con faster. And sometimes getting to your win con faster is letting your opponent play into your moves. And that's the same thing with this game. Yeah. And then she was just like, I hate the players that are just standing there doing nothing, mostly with the LF Namek Goku Zenkai. Those players are terrifying because Namek Goku, if used correctly, is just pretty much unkillable. If used correctly. Because if you try to tackle them to try to bait them, they will use a Strike Arts card, thus countering you and taking the combo. If you try to use a card attack, like any card arts, they'll just blue card you and you'll die. You don't even have to be far away. You can be up close and you'll still lose. Like, his neutral game is so dumb. It's actually insane. And it makes Angie Goku probably one of the best blue units in the game, just outright. Even like if we just take a look at whether or not he gets a lot of representation on the ladder, which he does, but even when he doesn't, the players that are in the top 100 that are using him because they're really good with him, and it's like, it shows. Panic swipers are delicious. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. DDP, I did the same before. I was always tackling when the fight starts, and after I swipe right away, don't do it. But, yep, exactly. Yeah, and you literally use cards. Yeah, it's a card game. You just wait, and when you think he's going to attack, vanish. Yeah, until you know how to bait blue card. Yeah, but it's hard to bait blue cards. It's really hard. Hard to bait the Namek Goku blue card, especially against a good player with good reaction. Because the character itself is in a tier where it's supposed to be. It's an S tier unit. Still has problems. It didn't get like crazy buff in terms of kit when it became a Zenkai, but it did get more damage. So as a result, what I would definitely say is that it's a solid S tier. Like Angie Goku is a solid S tier unit, but that's it. He's not Z tier because his kit isn't Z tier. And that has nothing to do with how good a player is with reaction. Reaction time is just a player innate skill and has nothing to do with tier lists. But he can't be Z tier because his kit isn't there to be Z. You just got LF? That's fair, TY Beast. Hey, it happens. It happens. It just happens. But anyways, yeah. So that is what I would say. If you're trying to play competitively, a tablet is your best bet. It's gonna feel weird for the first time for a couple of weeks or maybe even a month or two. But after that, you'll get used to it. And honestly, tablets are just superior in terms of competitive gameplay. Just, you got to know that. Yeah, you can attack Nameku when the blue card, it's in the counter timing. Count 2 seconds, then attack. It's a bit hard, but can be done. Yeah, exactly. So what Nairo is saying here is specifically like if they're using a blue card and you know, you want to attack, but you're still waiting because they have it, just count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, then go for the attack. You'll hit them. Did you know I got LF by the event UI Goku? Fair enough, Dark. I mean, it happens. It happens. I started saving Chrono Crystals like you said, and I already have 2,000 Zenkai are easy now. Exactly, Andre the Dude. And that's what I'm saying. It's not that the devs don't give us Chrono Crystals, it's that we don't properly manage our Chrono Crystals. So, if you know anyone else that isn't managing their Chrono Crystals effectively and want to know how to do that, send them my way. Have them watch some of my lives or at least read my documents. Have them watch my videos because I literally go over this, and I'm not saying this because I want them to boost me in the algorithm. I'm saying this because I just want you guys to get better at this game in terms of management and in terms of not as much complaining anymore about how it's not free to play. I still have my issues about free to play aspects of this game. Don't get me wrong. I still believe they could make it better for free to play players. But what I'm saying is that they do give us a generous amount of CC in comparison to a whole bunch of other games. It's just that we, as a player base, look at shiny new things and go, ah, shiny, must summon. Which is dumb, because that's how we get caught into this trap. Yo, Super Saiyan God Shallot, I'm fantastic. How you doing? Hope Zenkai 16 or Zenkai Buu comes out next week. Well, you can get Zenkai Buu in the Rush Medals section. Guesses on this month's LF? Honestly, no, I don't have any guesses. In the top 20k, LF Nameku Goku Zenkai is seen like crazy, and with LF Gohan Zenkai, Super Saiyan 3 Zenkai, That dude have some mercy. Exactly. Was that UI's Goku move that can do an LF blast shield now? Oh no, it always had the ability to LF. No, it always had the ability to. It always had blast armor. Goku Black always had blast armor. Is Neo at the live, Dad? I think so, but I'm not sure. He might have disappeared. Know which banners to skip. Exactly. You definitely need to know which banners to skip. If you guys have checked out my last live on team building, I explain how to build a team, why you should build only 2 to 1 teams, and how you will know what to skip in terms of banners. So check those out if you haven't. Yo, Pops, how you doing? Is Zenkai Boo worth it on my Android team? Just to Zenkai buff the Grain 21? No. No, Lost Nico. I mean, in some cases, you could argue yes, but why would you do that when you could put, for example, Android 16, who is a Zenkai, who also will Zenkai buff your Android 21 good? It just seems better, in my opinion, to have someone that also gives a Z ability to everyone globally, while also buffing simply your 21. Now, if you're playing regen as well, then Lost Nico, yes, I would say then Boo is good to Zenkai. You should Zenkai him, because then you could put them both on the same team for regen. But if for Android specifically, just use 16 when he comes back, of course. Let's see. Is Zenkai? Yeah, okay. I'm not that great with that Namek Goku. Yep, that a lot of people aren't. I'm just gonna say, if you need to choose a Zenkai in the Zenkai Rush medals, choose between Beerus, Boo, and Goku Black, since they have a 20cc banner. They don't have a 20cc banner. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, but I like to look at it this way more. Beerus and Boo are like probably the biggest bang for your buck if we're not talking about LFs. Yes, I do, Brahim. Thank you. My birthday's this Thursday. Yo, then happy early birthday, Pops. I've been maining Vegeta family in future. Yeah. How is a Vegeta fam in future, treating you, SSG Shallot? Because honestly, I tried out Vegeta family. If you play well, then you don't have to worry about defense, and they just nuke the opponent. I can see why they're not as good in the meta. It's because their defenses are lackluster. But outside of that, solid team. Absolutely solid team. Future's the better team, of course, but just in terms of solidity and how well they're more orientated and balanced. Don't mind me sending a random request. Sounds good, Dark. Don't worry about it. I won't worry about that. Here to learn. Yep. Which videos? The players I faced have a lot of patience. Comes back. If Namek Goku Zenkai summon. Okay, yeah. But I use Nameku sometimes, so what I do is I wait for the time buffs to get activated. Then, if I have a blue card, I make them waste vanish. Yeah. How do I manage my CCs? How do you manage your CCs? I'm not going to cover it too much in this one, but basically, know what 2 teams you're playing. Don't summon on any banner that doesn't involve your 2 teams. Very simple. It's very simple like that. If you check out my how to farm CC effectively live, go into the document. I go all over DDP. How you can gain like almost 7,000 CC just this month. Well, actually last month, February. February, we earned almost 7,000 CC, not including top 10K. So we weren't including that. If you're including top 10K, it's almost 9,000 Chrono Crystals that we earned this month alone. And when I say this month, I mean February. Now, in March, we're going to have to do a new calculation. So I might do a new farm effectively video for CC just to see how much we get just for this month alone, if you guys are interested. Because I personally believe that this is stuff that we want to know. We want to know where we can farm this stuff, how it's going to look. You know? Yo, Bad Dark. Just watch whatever videos you can. Nameku is all about patience. Yep. It's all about patience. Yeah. Team with Zenkai 18. Nice. So again, about 1,100 a week from missions. There you go. All right. Let's go over the next thing, because I feel like there's still some things that we can cover on strategies for PvP ladder. So what did I not cover? So we know the opponent's kits. So know the opponent's kits. That's going to be very important. Know your own kits. Stick with 3 teams max. I personally say if free to play, stick to only 1 to 2 teams instead. If a whale, max 3 to optimize performance. Whale / dolphin, let's say. There we go. Because even whales, if you're playing more than if you're playing more than 3 teams, you actually reduce how well you perform, just in general. And because you're trying to overload your brain with too much information. Oh, yes. No, the timer count. This is fantastic. That's a fantastic one. Good job, Lost Nico. All right, so what does that mean? Meaning knowing when a skill is activated and how many seconds it will last. So, for example, lock-ins, does it last 10 seconds, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 3 seconds? How long is Jiren's cover change nullification? How many times can he do it? Broly's nullification, Majin Vegeta cover change nullification. What do they do? How many timer counts do you know that something is going to pass? Know the timer count on the top left of your screen, because that usually plays a vital role in when you know you are clear to do whatever it is that you're trying to do defensively or offensively. Know when your time limit is up. I see a lot of players, they'll lock in a player, then they will go at them with all their cards before clicking the Rising Rush. But by that point, now the opponent can switch back into a character they would rather lose than the character you are trying to kill. These are big things. This is what a lot of players tend to do wrong. And it baffles me because I'm just like, okay, if I want to kill this character for sure, how do I do that? I have X amount of time on the timer counts. If I click more than X amount of cards, my ult won't go through, or my Rising Rush will not hit the right target. So what I do is I strategize, hit them maybe once or twice, then go for the finish. Because if I do that 3rd or 4th card before whatever I'm trying to do, chances are the switch is happening and that's it. Now, if it's at the beginning, obviously some restrictions don't apply in that sense, but usually they do. And in that case, you need to be aware of how long you have. And if you're not aware of that, if you're not keeping track, then that's on you as to why you messed up and why your opponent took the advantage from you. And then I think here's another one, because I forgot to mention it. What is a single tap? Oh, Nairo, that's here. Know the kits of your opponents. That's right there, Nairo. I already covered that. That was like literally the 4th thing I covered. And the reason why I covered that was because, yeah, if it's something, memorize every single relevant team's kit so you know what they're doing. You know? You want to know that. So I agree. I 100% agree with you, Nairo D. But I already wrote that. So good on you for like pointing that out. But I definitely got that covered for you guys. Just because I knew that was super important. It's like one of the biggest like things you need to know in terms of competitive. All right, learn to single tap. Why single tap? What is single tapping? I'm talking about them, but more like within the thing, you know? Okay, I came a bit late. Yeah, don't worry, Nairo D. It's all good. But it's a good thing to bring up. You know, it's still a great thing to bring up. So, you know, single tapping to bait them to vanish or cancel their blast or blue cards. You talk about dropping your. Don't worry, Jacob. You could have left that in. Yes, I mean, we did talk about dropping combos, but not like within the text. We more so just talked about it openly, right? Because that was something that need to be mentioned. But it's one of those things that we will cover in a moment, so don't worry about that. So yeah, single taps. Why? I mean, and I did write it here, but let me just explain. You do a tap attack to double check to see if you've connected your hit. If you did connect, finish it off. Tap again to finish it off. If you didn't, however, and you have your vanish gauge, see what they're gonna do. If they go straight into you, you can vanish. And chances are, if you vanish like that, you've perfect vanished, which means you can just go straight into them. Unless your timing is bad, which in that case, obviously you didn't perfect vanish. So just know the sound, which we did cover in this document. Otherwise, sometimes if they just vanish, you can go for a strike, right? See what they're doing. If you do the tap attack and they get baited out by stepping back, but you only do a single, you actually have control of the loop. Don't lose control. That is your prime time to control the loop. If you mess that up, not only are you you're exchanging the loop to them, but you're also asking to be completely punished. All right? Yes. Obviously, exceptions do apply. Like, for example, if you're up against something like Super Gogeta Hit or anything with a counter, like a counter green card, or, you know, what's a good one? Bergamo is a great one to talk about. Another one that has like a barrier. What else? What else? It was, I can't think of anyone other than like Gogetas in general, like Gogeta Blue and Super Gogeta, as Nairo I think mentioned, and Hit, and then Bergamo. Those are the relevant ones I can think of off the top of my head. You know, so like obviously be careful of those, but just in general, when you're learning to single tap, learn how to single tap effectively to avoid the double tap. Buhan, thank you. Yeah, both Buhans, the green and the purple, have the barrier. Broly, although Broly's green is a little bit different than the others, but I get, yeah, no, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that Goku Black, Broly still counts. Yeah, still counts. All right, let's cover dropping combo. Dropping combos. This one's a toughie. And I'll tell you why this one's a toughie. So dropping combos just in general is a better skill to have. It helps you decimate at least the average to a little bit above average player, but it doesn't necessarily help you against the higher level players because higher level players generally don't get baited by dropping combos. We are very patient and we're very good at waiting. So that way, if the opponent is dropping a combo, we're just going to vanish. And chances are they're most likely going to try to figure out where we might get impatient to try to, you know, cover change, and then they'll, you know, drop the combo. Essentially, it's a timing thing. Timing is key, and knowing frames in the game. If you know the frame of the game, like how many frames it is before you know that the drop combo has occurred, then in that case, you can easily just vanish. If you know how long it takes before you have to attack without a dropped combo, that also helps. So there is timing and frames, but generally speaking, it's assessment of your opponent. How impatient are they? How patient are they? How much do you think they know of the game? If they exhibit as if they know a lot of the game, chances are they also know timing and frames. If they know that, then in that case, dropping a combo against them is most likely not going to work and could suffer in a reversal of the combat loop. But at the same time, knowing that they have cover change units means that you just have to be more careful about what cards you're throwing at your opponent. And this is all about just taking time and being careful. Don't drop combo if you don't have vanish or you're less. Yeah, they're switching. Exactly. Exactly. A lot of this is timing key frames and knowing the opponent. So essentially instinct. Instinct and vanish gauge plays a huge part in deciding to use this mechanic. I would say it's a mechanic. Yeah. Charge key steps. Yeah, we can talk about that. But one thing I think I want to mention. All right, I need to ask you guys, how many of you guys think that you need every mechanic in the game to be successful? To be competitive? Do you truly need every single mechanic? Charge step, charge steps, side steps, the stuff like that to be successful in this game? Do you really need every single one? Scott fainted? Yeah, I feel you, TY. That sucks. No, you don't. Exactly. The answer is no. No. The answer is no. It's just a straight up no. You do not need this. You don't need it for yourself to be successful in the game. And I say this everywhere because Battle Stage 51s, I've played against them like as if they're regular people instead of exploiting them. Against players in PvP, I've played where I just didn't choose to charge step or sidestep the entire game. I even played someone that had over 10,000 RP who didn't want to sidestep or charge step once. I beat them, but it's still, they weren't bad. They were really good. Their reaction time was insane. Their ability to be defensive was insane. What caught them was that I just had more patience than them. But they were so good that they were able to know when to just stop because they knew I was going to come in for a cover change, and then I would not cover change because they realized that I wasn't, so then they go for an attack, but then they knew I was going to cover change, so they just neutraled it. They knew. They saw it. They knew that in the time frames I was ready, and they backed off. That's smart thinking. That's instinct. So no, you do not need to know how to charge step. You do not need to know how to sidestep. Do those skills help you in the game? Absolutely. They do. I'm not saying they don't, but do they make a player? No, they don't. Thinking that they do or thinking that will make you a better player intrinsically is just not true. It'll make you feel like you're better, and maybe you're going to feel like the opponent won't like figure out what you're going to do next a lot easier, but it's not true. Yeah, actually, you know what's actually really interesting? FG made a very, very good point. Take Endakoba for an example. Now, okay, I'm not gonna toot Endakoba's horn too much because he's above the average player. He actually is. He's the skill level is above average. Fun fact, and this is fun. I'm not tooting my horn because this isn't really much of a flex. This is actually probably a very poor flex. But I've played Endakoba before in ranked. I found him. We played. I decimated him. It wasn't even a fair fight. But to say he's a bad player is wrong. He's not a bad player. And he's not the best example for like top tier level plays without doing all of the movesets or all the mechanics, but he's definitely not like an average player. 100% not, because if he were average, then in that case he would have never reached top 10k. The man's hit top 10k before. He's been competitive before, even in a minute degree. So I would say it's very disingenuous to say he's a bad player just because it's meme worthy to say that. I think that's just very it's just disingenuous and just doesn't actually explain his actual, like, him as a player and what he's done for himself or in this game. If you charge step, it gives your opponent enough time to swap. Yep. You should add what to do when faced with patient players. Yeah, I can do that, Google. I can definitely do that. I will definitely add that into patience, like how to deal with patience. In the game, it seems like it's essential to sidestep or charge step to win matches. Yes, it does feel like that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Should you learn the mechanics? Yes. Learning them still helps you as a player, even if you choose not to use some of these mechanics. That's a big thing, because knowing how a mechanic works helps you learn how to deal with mechanics like that. So just because you're not using a mechanic doesn't mean you don't know how to deal with it. So learning a mechanic like Endakoba, he knows how to charge step, he knows how to sidestep, he knows all the mechanics of the game, at least from what I've seen. And it doesn't mean he needs to use them, though. And it doesn't make him a bad player for not using them. It just makes him a player that clearly has different priorities for this game. So that's why I don't say he's the best example, because although definitely above average, definitely not like, I wouldn't say he's top tier. I would say he's definitely a good player to look at if you want to get an idea of what the general skill level of this game to reach top 10K would look like. That's what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. Listen, Nairo, I'm not saying he's informational. What I am saying, however, is that the man isn't a bad player. That's all I'm saying. I mean, Phil, you helped me learning the sidestep combo, and I still use it to this day. That's fair. When they have UI Goku, they get a lot of perfect vanish. Google, if you're getting baited by UI Goku, then that's a different type of problem, which we can cover that. But, you know, how about time stop with green and main ability? For what? Are you referring to hit? Lost Nico, are you referring to hit? I would do everything charge step, side step, and drop combo in PvP. That's fair, that Goku Black. You totally can. Got red and switched into the wrong character. Oof. Alright, so Google. In regards to how to deal with patient players. Well, first figure out, are they patient as in turtling, or patient as in what's the word I'm looking for? I guess the word I would say is instinct. There's a difference. There's a difference. And I don't think instinct is the right word. So I'm going to just say right over here. Okay. Say turtle. Okay. Michael, there are sounds. So for perfect vanish, or alternatively, for perfect vanishes and just regular vanishes, look it up. It's on YouTube. You gotta hear the sound. It's all about listening to the sound. If you don't know that sound, get familiar with it. Look it up. If you don't look it up, you'll never know it. Okay, cover change is extremely useful. Yes, but it can be destroyed. Let's see. Time stop with. Let's see. And for example, time stopping to see if your opponent is tackling or for you to. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Thank you, Lost Nico. Yeah. We can definitely do that. Although, I wouldn't use that very much because good players don't get baited by that. At least generally they don't. Still got the W. There's a specific sound that comes out. Yep. Way to win with patient players. Go in close range by that. I mean, come to the... Yeah, but Nairo D, that doesn't work against higher players because that's the difference. Turtling is not the same as having an instinctual or a type of play. Turtling is the type of players that panic. These are panic players. They panic when they are being closed in on, right? This means that they just panic when the distance is getting closed. So one of the biggest things is if it's a turtle player, you'll know because they'll start to mess up. They'll start to make moves, right? Or they will be so slow with reaction time that they will then get punished by your attack. And that's how you know they're a turtle. If they are instinctual or if they're just a higher level player, I don't know the term for this, they just are so patient, they will just wait. And they'll be okay with whatever you choose to do because they will wait till you make the mistake because they will see the exclamation point and they will vanish and they will hit you. They don't care if you're up in their face or mid or far away, they will exploit you, which means that your job is to exploit them, and that means that someone has to give. And if you're giving, they're winning. I think the best example of this is I once, and this is only one time, I once won a PvP game with one single tap shot. So this means for a 180 timer counts, the only damage that was ever dealt was a single tap shot on my end. It's crazy. But this person was turtling so much, and I refused to go up to them, that we spent the entire 180 timer counts literally just trying to tap shot each other to see who could deal more damage. Because no one was willing to do the blast, and it was so unpredictable. We didn't know when the tap shot was coming, because it was just too fast. Or by the time that we clicked, we'd get hit back, so it was just too late. Our reaction time was too slow. And I'm not saying this is a great example. What I'm saying is this has happened before. One single tap shot decided an entire game. That's stupid. But to be fair, that happened, and that's just it's never gonna happen again. Yeah, Nairo D is right. If it's against a higher play, just ask for a miracle or go random on them. Exactly. Yeah, I definitely can Goku Black. They're close. You just tap, knocks them back. Yep. I'm good with Spanish, so it's all good. But yeah, like patient players, unfortunately, if you're dealing with a turtle, if you're dealing with a turtle, that's not unfortunate. That's great. Great news for you because it means that you will most likely mess them up. If they are an instinctual player, if they are a higher level player, if they kind of understand your habits, if they've ascertained how you will most likely play out your game, they will mess you up. It's that simple. It's that simple. Like there's nothing more to say about it. They're just very good. Run to their face, then let them dodge once, then you dodge. Most of the time, it is a perfect. Yeah, Ali, the problem with what you're asking is that, generally speaking, if they dodge, and if they're an instinctual player, not a turtle, again, your plan doesn't work. They will perfect vanish you. They will perfect vanish you, or alternatively, they will vanish, switch, and drag back, or potentially drag forward, let you make the mistake, perfect vanish you there, and then go for the strike, or the blast, or whatever card arts they want to use. Basically, the problem with the whole simple, but if you just go to their face, yeah, but you're talking between the difference between a turtle and someone that is actually competent, who is patient, who understands that this game is all about who makes the first mistake loses. And usually the person that makes the first move loses the game. That is how this game works. That's why this is a card game. This is why you have to be careful. Yeah, it's not that simple to just use a green card, right? I wish, but patient players are not the same. As they're a different type of breed of players. These are the players that are like, if I think of like a good player at the time when Dragon Ball Legends was considered competitive, I don't know if you guys know, but Milcool, he was considered a patient player. Not 100%, but he's much better in terms of patience. Man was really good. Hard to think of anyone else, and the reason for it is because the only other people that I can think of is like someone like Tiny, or who else? For patience. And even Tiny's not perfect for patience. He's really good at it. Because I can't think of I can't think of people off the top of my head. But, like, generally speaking, when you're thinking of patience, you're thinking of people that are just horrifying at this game when it comes to basically being able to exploit everything you do. These are the type of people that feel like they shouldn't exist, but they do, and when they do, you feel it, and they're going to just wreck your shit. Simple as that. All right, let's go over frame freezes. Frame freezes! Because I know Lost Nico wants me to cover that, so let's cover that. So what is a frame freeze? Because frame freezes are not used by hit. It's used by any character. Any character can exploit this. Great stuff. So. Frame freezes. When activating main abilities or green cards, you enter animations or actions in the game that freeze the timer count and let you know potentially if your opponent is currently making an action or not. So what does that mean? That means you'll see an exclamation point, but it'll be frozen. If that's the case, well, bam, you got them. All right, so frame freezes. And let me just do a side note. Side note. This will generally not work on higher level players, as patience truly matters in order to be successful in this game. Boom. So, that basically just means do not rely on frame freezes in order to win a game against higher level players. Now, you can try, and if you do succeed, good job. But most chances are it's not going to work. So you're going to have to try to use other means to beat them. My only gripe is lag switchers. That's a player-to-player connection. So we can talk about player-to-player connection. Actually, why don't we talk about it just a little bit? Because I love to get angry about player-to-player connection. So we did talk about this in the past, DG. We did talk about this in the past, but let me talk about it again because I love talking about it. So player-to-player connection means that this game does not run on any servers. So lag switchers, generally speaking, use bad Wi-Fi. Why do they use bad Wi-Fi? Because it allows for the game to hiccup a lot. Now, sometimes a lag switcher is not a lag switcher. And why do I say that? Because this game does not have a server. What does that mean? It means that there is no solid connection. It goes through cell phone towers. Your connectivity is designed to only work as well as how well do those two connections work together in sync. So if you have yourselves playing against someone like if you're in Canada and you're playing against someone in Mexico, well, I can assure you, your player-to-player connection is going to suck. And if it doesn't, great job. You're most likely on some very good Wi-Fi, and the whatever cell towers are mixing the signals together is not getting messed up by like even the smallest thing. So when I'm talking about servers, I mean if they go through a server, then in that case, a disconnect normally would have meant that you would have whoever disconnected would have gotten a game loss. That's not the case. Because you're doing player-to-player connection, it auto-reverts and auto-connects to a bot to keep you two in the game, even though both of you are not in the game any longer. And it baffles me why they do this. Because if they just paid for a server, we would have less cheating just in general. And also, on top of that, a server would allow you to track cheating a lot better. So it just baffles me that they don't. But they care more about how much money you're putting into the game more so than they care about the competitive nature of the game itself. So as a result, this game just can't be competitive because it's a bunch of baloney because they don't even work on making their connectivity for the community better. Done. That's my rant. Sorry, I just had to. I used Mexico just because Canada, Mexico, pretty far. I didn't want to use the States and Mexico because it's a little bit closer. But the same rule applies. You could also use the States and Canada. You could use Canada and Europe. You could use a whole bunch of different connectivities, right? I'm just saying, just in generally speaking, your connection is based upon what you've connected to. That's why you have bad connection, and it sucks because this is something they could fix. What about the people who make it a draw? My first match was a draw and I played for a second. Yeah, if they're using a draw system, they're using a mod. And if you're using a mod, you're scum. And I mean this in all sense of it. Please don't use mods for this game. First off, you can get banned and you most likely will. So just don't use mods. And then second off, it's scummy, especially if you're bringing them into PvP. There's an argument to be said that mods are not dangerous as long as they stay PvE. But I just generally, as a rule, like to say no mods, because if you have a mod for PvE, chances are at one day you'll just be like, why not? I'll bring it into PvP. That's destructive. Don't do that. So, in general, I just say don't bring mods. Yeah. Forcing a draw is more annoying than lag switching, because forcing draw means that they can just force a draw at the moment they're about to lose. Right? That just sucks. So yeah. Question: can you lose to a match? For example, you are one hit away from death, and the enemy forfeits, but he was on a combo, or when the attack is about to finish you off. Yeah, Nairo D. So in a mod situation, okay, wait. Okay, I'm just gonna reread your question. So, can you lose to a match? For example, you are one hit away from death, and the enemy forfeits, but he was on a combo, or when the attack is about to finish you off. So you can't lose if they forfeit. But let's say, if they're about one hit away and you're about to win, and they force a draw, they can do that. Mods can allow you to do that. I'm sorry that I don't fully understand the question, IROD, but yeah, generally speaking, twice. Can you lose twice a match? Oh, twice a match? Not that I know of, but if that's a new mod, holy shoot. That shouldn't be possible, but if it is, then that's a new mod, and that's just recent. A guy literally used the mod when he only has one character left. Yep, that happens a lot. The reason for that, Pigeon, is because even though the game is created in such a way that it is fun and it is different, they just don't care enough about the maintenance of it. And the maintenance of it in terms of its playability aspect, in terms of its fun aspects, which is PvP, which is what they should be focusing on. In terms of their PvE content, which they should be focusing on, they worry about their shop. And it just baffles me how they just worry about the shop. And, like, how well is the shop being frequented? And whether people are using mods to avoid the shop. And it clearly indicates where they prioritize their focus, and I hate it because part of the times when I see that, I just want to leave the game. And then I remember that I play this game for fun, so it doesn't affect me, so I shouldn't be so upset about it. But, I mean, in general, it affects all of us, so I just get annoyed by that. Isn't there a mod to make all your characters look 14 stars? There's a mod to make your characters 14 stars, Lost Nico. Not just look. To make your characters 14. Although there is a mod that also makes your characters look 14, although that's more cosmetic. So, that's why I hate mods in general. They ruin the fun of the game. And it says a lot about the game where you have to then decide, okay, if we're going to use a mod, then in that case, everyone should allow access to that mod, right? But at that point, what's the point of playing this game since the devs make no money? And if the devs make no money, then no whales. If no whales, the game dies. And that's why you have to argue that since it's free to play, you need whales. And as a result, you need people spending. And as a result, you have to ban mods. You just have to. Should we just play Dokkan instead? I heard it's better, but less fun in gameplay. Pigeon, personally, I don't enjoy Dokkan as much. I really don't. In fact, I stopped playing. But that's another reason. Again, the reason why I stopped playing isn't because I actually stopped. It's more so I felt the need to stop because I lost my account. And I'm not going to go into how. I don't want to cover that right now. But, and it's not their fault. It's my fault. But it's just not as fun for me. And on top of that, it's just pure PvE. And I could just play pure PvE in Dragon Ball Legends. As stale as that sounds, technically you can do that. Because one is technically relaxing with the ability to play bubble popping. But the other one, technically speaking, I can just replay harder events and play with my favorite characters. Realistically, if I wanted to. Sure, that sounds mundane, but that's basically what Dokkan is. You're just regrinding events till you have what you want. I don't see any difference. I just don't. There's a mod that clears every challenge in the story mode and events. Well, I'm glad I don't use it because I just don't want to. Can they run the game with that 14-star characters? Yeah, they can. I don't really care for Dokkan, but personal preference. Exactly, DG. I agree. My units have too much stars. It's like a whale. Yep. Yeah. Anyways, pretty much that's what I really wanted to cover for today. Also, it's cold in here. That's why I'm wearing this weird blue thing. But I feel much warmer, so I can take this off now. Oh, man. Oh, all right. That was really warm. Actually, maybe I'm a little too warm now. I have to cool off a little. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire thing. Okay, it's equal. Yeah, I got the new character. Okay, now wait for the next banner to summon. Yeah, pretty much. It's just another gambling simulator. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? It's just more so you have to know what type of person you are. Like, for example, my brother, he plays Dokkan. He does not play Legends. He's not interested in Legends as much as he's interested in Dokkan. And the reason for it is he likes being able to do multiple things at once. He wants to play his console games while also just farming. He doesn't want to have his focus on one game specifically. And, you know, auto is great and all, but it's only as good as the amount of characters you have since our auto sucks. Although it's better now, but it still sucks. Easy Chronos, yep. Oh, you mean in terms of the mods? Again, my rule of thumb is if you have one mod, you can have access to them all. And if you have access to them all, it's scummy to have them because it just takes away the fun, especially when you bring it to PvP. And if you let someone have mods in general, there will be people that will bring it to PvP. And that's why I say ban mods. Because unfortunately, just because one person won't use the mod incorrectly doesn't mean others will, right? And because they're so accessible, and because this is a free-to-play game, the game can die. Whereas if you play like a game like Skyrim, you still have to purchase the game before you can mod it. You gotta purchase it, right? Whereas with a free-to-play game, using mods to basically make the game even more free is essentially saying, I want this game to die. Which is not what I want. I don't want Legends to die. As much as I shed on it a lot, I don't want the game to die. Whereas if you, let's say, for example, buy Skyrim first, or buy, I don't know, Fallout, or whatever Bethesda game that easily gets cracked all the time, which is hilarious. But because you already bought the game prior to modding it, you're free to do what you want because there is no PvP aspect to the game. At least not within the games that they've built for it on its standalone. Ignoring like the Skyrim Online and stuff like that, just ignoring that. Will we get the PDF in the description? Yes, it's already in the description. You have access to it right now, Shu. What characters do you think are coming next? Honestly, don't know, Zilt. I'm not a very good predictor. I just know that, you know, whoever they bring out next, I'm hoping that it will be in a banner that is actually worthwhile, that contains a lot of units for a particular tag that would buff them. So that way we actually have banners that really correlate for free-to-play players, for new players, so they can play. Brahim, Legends is free-to-play. It's just not free-to-play if you want to play every team. It's also not free-to-play if you want all your teams to be 14 stars. It's not free-to-play if you're trying to be hyper-competitive with 3 teams. 1 to 2 teams max. Let's see. I'm hoping for a completely new Dragon Ball game gacha from Bandai that takes inspiration from both Dokkan and Legends, but also have it open, unique playstyle. Yeah, I would love if we can get a Dragon Ball game that is very PvE focused, and not like Dokkan though, like Legends. And the reason why I say that is because you want a game where people can feel like they're the star. I'm not saying this because I want people to feel like they deserve special treatment. I'm saying this because a lot of single-player games do this so that way you invest time in the game. And when you invest time in a game that you love, you're more likely to give money to the game than to a game that makes you feel like you need to give money. Because I'm going to be quite frank with you guys, the fact that it's now a higher prerequisite to reach top 10K only means that we actually have less players competing in PvP. Fun fact, the more players you have, the lower the requirements are because the higher the competition there is. You remove a lot of that competition, the points get inflated in order for it to feel like it's harder. In order for it to feel like there is more players or the game has become more competitive. In fact, Legends is in a state, it's not dying, so don't worry. Don't jump to this conclusion. It's not dying, but it's in a state where they've had to inflate where top 10K is because of the damage they have done, although that they have been somewhat rectifying in some ways. So, pointing that out. What if they bring them skipping? What happened to the project, Saitama? Oh, don't worry, Emmanuel. Listen, that's staying. It's not going away. It's just I'm deciding whether or not that's moving to a different channel or if that's staying on this channel. And right now, I am more interested in covering stuff about Legends, and I'm only more interested in doing the Saitama workout in terms of updates. So, like, yearly updates or monthly updates, nothing more than that. Because I really want to build my brand off of me, more so than just off of a workout or off of a game. So, but again, I might change my mind and switch my branding still. So, everything's up in the air because I'm still not fully settled in my branding. But I'm figuring that out. I know what my content is, just need to figure out my branding. But other than that, that's pretty much all you guys need to know when it comes to just strategies for PvP. If you guys have any other, right now no other channels, but I'll let you guys know when I do. But if you guys have any other tips or advice to strategies for PvP ladder, let me know. I will add this to the doc if you let me know in my DMs, or if you let me know on any of my social medias, or if you let me know in my Discord, which is part of my social medias. Just let me know if you guys have anything else. Don't let me know here just because I'm about to end this live at this point, but let me know in general so that way I can add it to this doc so you guys have constant access to it, because I love to give you guys these docs. But the last thing I'm going to answer is Pigeon asks, should Legends have kept max stars at 7? The answer to that is yes, they should have. 14 stars was a horrible idea and still is to this day. The fact that we have 14-star characters really pushed the divide in terms of how many stars you needed and how efficient you had to be in terms of farming now multi-Z power before then. Oh, fun fact. Fun fact. Before the update, we didn't really have multi-Z power. In fact, I don't think we even had multi-Z power. If we did, I don't even remember it. Because from what I remember, we didn't get introduced to multi-Z power until after the 14-star change. Meaning they've had to find a way to fix the mistake they made. That's some damage that they dealt to themselves. That's bad. Yeah, no problem, Manuel. No, yeah, that's fair. I'm glad that you asked. I'm always willing to answer those type of questions. I have to, I have to be honest too, right? Yeah, I agree. Plus, get rid of Zenkai. So, DG, the problem with getting rid of Zenkai is because since the 14-star update, Zenkais have been one of the few ways for free-to-play players to catch up to whales. Without Zenkais, and I hate to say it, but without Zenkais, free-to-play players would be decimated in this game. You would still be in that situation where free-to-play players just couldn't stack up to whales on a constant basis. Nowadays, the majority of whales you see are most likely free-to-play players. So, as much as it pains me to say that Zenkais are actually beneficial to this game at this point, don't get it misconstrued with the fact that I like Zenkais. I still hate them. Because they're now a necessary evil. They're no longer that thing that is hard to get. It's now the thing that equalizes free-to-play versus whales. Yeah, 14 stars was for whales, 100%. It's also for money. So, yeah. Yeah, we didn't have the Master Pack. You're right. Yes, you're right, Nairo. So, a lot of changes they've had to do because we lost so many stars. We were all of a sudden struggling to keep up with whales even more. It was dumb. It was a bad update. It's still a bad to move to this day, and it dealt tons of damage to the game itself, had lots of people leaving, hence why we've had the increase in terms of, like, the amount of RP needed for ranked. Yeah, getting a 7-star LF is a pain. You're right. And they're trying to find ways to make it easier, but they're not making it very easy. And until they do, Zenkai LFs are going to be a very big burden if they are absolutely necessary. So I'm glad that they're pushing non-LF Zenkais to become the norm and become more necessary than LFs. Because if they push LFs too much, you're going to be in a situation where even free-to-plays are going to struggle. Zenkai units have been balanced this time around. Yep. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to cover for today. This Wednesday, we'll take it chill. We'll probably do co-op. We'll probably do maybe some PvP. And then we can go back to learning probably on the Friday. The reason why we do a whole bunch of this learning and why I do a whole bunch of these technically like lectures is because you guys have clearly shown interest in wanting to get better at the game. And sometimes the best way of learning is just listening and talking and actually having a debate and talking about it. Learning from watching is also good. Don't get me wrong, and we will do that. I just want to also cover our bases so you know what we're dealing with. And so you can remember it and have access to this. Because chances are, if I don't do this with you guys, I'm not writing this out on my own. I don't want to. There needs to be a reason why I'm writing this. So this is why we did it. So yeah, we can apply a lot of this stuff, though, in gaming. So when we play, actually, you'll be able to see it. All right? All right, let's just see the last things what you guys are saying before I leave. Multi-Z power. MP. Oh, okay, wait. Yeah. You're right, Nairo. I misread that, but yeah, multi-Z power. So I was right on that. I forgot Master Pack even existed. I know, eh? Yeah, Zenkai's and LF. Yeah, LFs are terrible to grind up. They're basically worse than Zenkai's in most cases, and they're even harder to get than normal Zenkai's. Yeah, and they're usually not worth it, with exceptions. Anyways, guys, that's the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys use these documents that I give you guys, because I put my heart and soul into these. I hope you use them to help yourselves. So just frequent them whenever you need them. And enjoy yourselves, okay? Take care. Have yourselves a salty day. see you guys probably when I release either my Scream mode or when I release my Blue Top 10, because that's coming out very soon. Probably either today or tomorrow or the next day. And then we'll stream on Wednesday. If today's Monday. Yeah, today's Monday. So we'll stream on Wednesday. With that being said, just take care and